Southern Colonies. Here we go. Trying to get the mouse on the thing. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So, what did we talk about in the article, The Real Colonial Williamsburg, Virginia? I'm going to take 3 answers. Erin.
Basically, we learned what the jobs were for the kids and the women and the men.
Okay, so we learned about colonial jobs. What else did we learn?
What the kids played for games.
Okay, so games that the kids played. One more.
And meaning shop, what they sold in shops.
Okay, things that they sold in shops. Good. So y'all remembered a lot. So we're going to take a look at our objectives for today. We're going to produce clear and coherent writing based on different points of view. So we're going to do some comparing and contrasting with a pros and cons list today. And we're going to locate the original 13 colonies on the map using a compass. Okay, so this is the map of the what side of the United States? Using your compass, tell me what you think.
East.
East, right? So it's on the east side. Where are a lot of the colonies located? Like, give me your intermediate directions.
Northeast.
Okay, northeast, right. So it's in the northeastern part of the United States. So, good job. Now we're going to take it a step further. Next week, we're going to pick up with our 5 southern colonies. And why do we think they call them southern colonies?
Because they're in the south.
Because they're in the south. How do you know they're in the south?
By looking at a compass.
By looking at a compass. So we look south on our compass, southern part of the colonies, right? Pretty simple. Good job. Okay. So now we're going to look at where Williamsburg, Virginia is. We talked about the things that were going on in Williamsburg, but we didn't really talk about the location. So can anybody tell me what state Williamsburg is in? We talked about it.
Virginia.
Virginia, right. So it's located on kind of the eastern side. We talked about a lot of the jobs and stuff, but what do you think could be a job that we didn't really talk about, looking at the location of Williamsburg? What do we think?
Probably catching fish.
Fishing and stuff, things to do with water, right? So what do you normally have when you go out on the water?
Boats.
You have boats. What can you bring in on boats besides fish?
Tea is coming from the other side of the world.
Okay,
That's what
good.
they usually brought.
Yeah,
Lumberwood, like you can transport lumberwood to
Good.
different places.
you could, yeah.
The material, like in other trade stuff on other
Mhm.
colonies.
Cargo, yeah. What do you have to run the ship?
Permission slip or whatever you would call it.
Maybe, like, who helps make the ship run? Who helps it sail like it's supposed to?
You got sailors and
Sailors and people, right? So you can also transport people on a boat. We talked about this type of servant yesterday. Do y'all remember what that word is? Or we briefly touched on it.
the
So you can look back in your story if you need to, or in your passage.
What was the question?
We talked about a specific type of servant yesterday. See if we can find where it's at.
indentured servants.
Indentured servants, yes. So go ahead and underline that word real quick, so you'll know where to find it.
Indentured or indentured?
Indentured servants, both words. Good catch. I did say just one word. Okay? So today we're going to kind of talk about some indentured servants and what they do. Y'all were asking me like crazy yesterday. I'm like, wait, we're going to talk about it tomorrow. So, an indentured servant is someone that comes to the New World and agrees to work for passage to the New World. And if they worked for 4 to 7 years, they got their own land, right? So, let's kind of picture we're in colonial times again real quick. So, let's say I'm a colonist. I'm going to go somewhere else in the world. I could go to Europe. I could go somewhere maybe further west and find people. And I'm going to say, hey, you tired of this person that's in charge of you? Well, let me tell you about this new world. This new world, we've got freedom of religion. We got all sorts of cool stuff. And if you want to come, I'll give you free passage if you come work for me. Does that kind of make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if they decide to go, they choose to go, are they slaves or just servants? They're servants because they're receiving some kind of payment, right? Slaves usually don't receive that. Okay? So here's what we're going to kind of do. We're going to do a little bit of opinionating here. We're going to make a pros and cons list. Okay? Where's my marker? Okay. So we're going to make a pros and cons list of being an indentured servant. So using what we read yesterday and what you know, you can look back in your story and let's kind of come up with some positives and negatives of being an indentured servant.
A positive is that after you work, you get your own living.
Okay? How long do you have to work?
4 to 7 years.
So 4 to 7 years equals land, right? Okay?
Are we supposed to be writing this down?
No, you don't have to write it down. Okay.
Okay.
Carter?
No, the freedom, like the choice to work or not to work. you don't do
Okay, so is that a positive or a negative?
Positive.
Okay? So, do they have, if they're an indentured servant, they have to choose to work though, right?
Yeah, but like they get to go to their masters and say, I mean like they don't get sold.
They don't get sold, they have the choice to go work. So they're not like a slave, that's what you're saying. Okay, so, choose not sold, we'll put that. To work. Okay? Let's see. There we go. Okay.
They get paid.
And slaves do not.
Yeah, they get paid, not with money though, they get paid for usually housing and that kind of stuff. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. So, paid living, we'll just put that. Okay?
This is a negative.
Okay.
While they're working, they're still not like free from like a master.
Okay. So, still work for someone? How about that? Let's see. I'm gonna take 2 more negatives. How about that? Does anybody have another negative?
While you're working, you don't have any money for that land that you're gonna get.
While you're
You
working?
don't earn any money, basically.
Probably not. So,
Not yet, at least.
you're working towards the land, but you don't have it yet. So, about not many positions. Because let's think about this. Are they going to have anything when they move to this new world? No, they're not, right? So they have to work for those things, and they have to gain them as they go. Let me get one more negative.
Like, they have to work for so long.
You have to work for a long period of time. 4 to 7 years is a long time, right? Like y'all are probably 10 years old, so y'all are working up until almost, 7/10 of your life to get that land. That's crazy. So, work for a long time. Okay? Is there anything else you can think of we may need to add to either side? I'm not looking for anything specific at this point.
In the negatives, I think there's some slaves there because we keep talking about them.
Okay, so there's probably slaves there, but is an indentured servant a slave? No. So, okay.
They get free passage to the new world.
It's a positive, right? So they get free passage. That's one that I think all of you need to work on this. Okay? So free passage. Okay? So, if I give you a question to tell me why you think an indentured servant is a good thing or a bad thing, do you think you can answer it?
Can we look at the question?
Okay. If you want to jot this down real quick, I should have got you to write it down. Okay? Jot that down real quick, and then we'll answer that question. You can write it in note form. It doesn't have to be in complete sentences. want you to flip on the other side of your paper. And I'm gonna erase this. And I want you to answer these questions for me. That way I can see what you learned and see what you remember. And then you'll get a little practice writing some comparing and contrasting. Any questions? Yes.
What does it mean by colony? Like state or?
What colony? We said colonies have been states, right?
Okay.
Are there current states? So we talked about where Virginia was. And you can look back in your text to look for information.
Do we have to write, can we write in text form or full sentences?
What does it say? Good, there you go. Okay, make sure you read your instructions. Any questions? Okay, we're good. Oh, you got one?
Give me a paragraph or we just put questions like 1 or 2 on
The last one is a paragraph. The first and second one are just sentence. Anything else?